what is up? Happy NWSL 2026 season, because ready or not, it is here. Welcome into Attacking Third, presented by Tylenol, the official pain reliever of the NWSL. We have a hefty episode for y'all today. And of course, I couldn't do it alone. Alongside Sandra Herrera and Jordan Angeli, I'm Lisa Carlin. We're doing Week 1 preview of the NWSL. We're doing team previews for Denver and Boston. Yes, we did wait until the very last minute to gather as much information about these teams as possible. And we just concluded an international break, so we're going to round that up and kind of put a bow on the international window. So thanks for hanging with us. If you're live with us on YouTube, thank you. 11 a.m. is when we go live. Join us, join the conversation in the chat, like this video, and let us know what games you're excited for in match day 1 of NWSL. If you're listening as a pod or watching on Golazo, thank you. It is so good to have you with us. And it's also good to have Jordan Angeli with us. Jordy, welcome. How are you?
Hi, good. I always love seeing your guys' face. So excited to be here. Good morning to everybody that's watching. And guys, I am pumped. I feel like the excitement is growing because this is going to be the biggest and baddest NWSL season yet, isn't it?
I was telling y'all off camera, I'm like, goodness, we're queuing up all of the preview content this week, and there's a similar theme that I keep fixating on, the fact that it's going to be the first ever 30 match schedule for these teams, and I'm like, yo, that's a lot of games.
It's a lot of games.
It's a lot of games. We are doing previews, some predictions in this one. There's a lot of unknowns, so take these things with a little bit of a grain of salt, my friends. But with the start of an NWSL season comes a lot of fun things, including the reactions that we're going to get from players. And there are always a couple players that just make some fabulous reactions on the pitch. And now we have ref cams happening this year in the NWSL. And there are always players that are made into memes or made into jokes. Who do you guys think is going to be the first NWSL player to become a meme this season?
Ooh. There's some good ones. Okay, off the top of my head, the first 3 players I can think of, I think 2 you'll be like, oh yeah, and then the third might be sneaky. Trinity Rodman, she always has good reactions. Marta, like going up to the ref, having a good chat with them. I think that was caught last year when the ref cam was enabled in one game. And then my third is going to be Savannah McCaskill.
Ooh,
yeah,
with Gotham.
I think she has some really funny facial expressions. She has some good reactions after things go her way or don't go her way or whatever it may be. She did that last year a lot in San Diego. So with this Gotham team, who's going to have a lot of pieces for her to work with, I kind of feel like it'll be McCaskill.
Oh, that's a good one.
Good shout.
I think it's like immediately like your head goes to Marta. I mean, we had a sneak peek of the ref cam last year, instant memification of the legend. So I think you're just like, yeah, the goat in many ways, including memes. But I do wonder if, you could maybe think even throw someone like Emily Sonnet in the mix. Could be someone who would likely do. But I'm also like, wouldn't it be cool to see like one of like maybe a calm, cool-headed player kind of get posted? Like, I want to see someone who's typically known for just like their calm demeanor getting like memified on the ref cam. Like, what if like Vanessa DiBernardo finally like makes her way back to the pitch and all of a sudden boom, ref cam. It would just crack me up.
I just think she's like a little too level-headed, but I'm with you. You guys gave some really good shouts. I think that we got some feisty Italians in this league, especially Girelli at Bay. And I think it's going to be a physical game. And I just know that we're going to get some good looks from Cristiana Girelli with Bay FC. So that's who I'm putting some money on.
My cousin.
You're exactly. I know. I always think you two look alike, especially when you have the curly hair, Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. I love
that. That's just a teaser. Well, let us know what players you think are going to become memes in this opening weekend of NWSL, guys, because we are here. The NWSL season is starting. It's the first to feature 16 teams. It's a balanced schedule, so each team is going to face their opponent home and away, meaning it is a 30-game season. That is a lot of matches. That is a lot. And of course, right here on Attacking Third, we will be previewing every single match week on Thursdays, 11 a.m. on YouTube, and then recapping them following the final whistle on Sunday night. So you know where you can find us right back here on YouTube and then immediately in your podcast feed. Let's talk week 1. Let's preview some games because, guys, there are some big ones. We start with a rematch of the 2025 semifinal game between Washington Spirit and Portland Thorns. It kicks off Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. It is Trinity Rodman and Sophia Wilson. It is the semifinal rematch. There's also some big news coming out of this game already. Midfielder for Washington Spirit, Andi Sullivan, she's been removed from the SEI list for Washington following that ACL recovery, who took her out the entirety of 2025. Tara Rudd for Washington is formerly Tara McKeown. Don't get confused. $5 in the jar if you get it wrong. And, of course, the historic signing of Trinity Rodman back at Washington. Sophia Wilson is off the maternity list leave. I mean, talk about a way to start the season, Jordyn. Talk about a way to start the season. What are you possibly watching for? Because there's a lot in this matchup.
Take a breath after that, Lisa. That was a lot of stuff you just gave us. So good job there. The first thing I wrote down is the Andi Sullivan coming back for the Spirit, because this team, yes, there were some departures and Croy Bethune leaving, but really the Washington Spirit stayed together as a group, and there aren't too many changes within this team, whereas we can't say the same thing for other teams in NWSL. And I just think Andi Sullivan, and I don't know, we don't know if she can play 90 minutes yet or not, but her ability to hold down the midfield, deny counterattacks, deny space for a team going the opposite direction will unlock Hal Hirschfeld, which we saw when those two played together during Hal's rookie season, and Lacey Santos. It'll just be different in the midfield for this squad. And I think that will be such a key for the Spirit. So that's on the Spirit side, right? Sandra, I'll maybe let you go on the Thorns side, but that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is how Andi Sullivan plays in Adriana Gonzalez's system, because she has not done that yet.
That's such a good shout, because I couldn't help also but sort of notice that they've got Rebe Bernal kind of permanently listed in that midfield category. So I'm very
Finally.
we all wanted it so badly, right? I'm very curious to sort of see year 2 of Bernal with the Spirit and how they're going to utilize her and in the areas in which they want her to operate. But I don't want to be Captain Obvious here, but how could we not note Soph Wilson coming off the SEI list for the Thorns, and then we're all going to get a shot of at least double espresso in some capacity with this game. Of course, I've got my eyes on that matchup. You know, what is it going to look like really for both players? They're both coming back in 2026 from very different times away from the pitch a little bit. We saw Robin have to kind of navigate the ups and downs of her back injury, and now could we see the emergence of a supermom in Sophia Wilson? We hear so often from players returning from pregnancy how they are a different player, and in many of their opinions, they're almost better players. And that's kind of a scary thought to think about when you're thinking about that with Soph Wilson.
And can I just put a little note in there, a Jen Cooper note for this? I'll see if you guys can answer this trivia question. So if one of those two scored, because Sophia Wilson and Andi Sullivan both coming back from maternity leave, they would join 2 other players who have scored in their first game back from maternity leave. Who are they?
Crystal Dunn, right?
Nope. Close.
No?
Like you're in the right area.
Right area of like generation or like
generation.
Alex
Generation.
Morgan.
Alex Morgan?
No.
I don't think she did.
Wait, repeat the question.
Okay. Since April 2017, there's not been a player that has scored.
Since April 2017.
Sorry, I didn't add that. That's a helpful hint, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 players that scored in their game back from maternity leave.
Vasconcelos?
I don't know. So prior to
think bigger names, think national team, U.S. national team names. Ooh.
Okay, we gave you Crystal Dunn and Alex Morgan, and then I go deep in
sorry.
Jess McDonald,
Cindy LaRue.
Look,
Amy Rodriguez.
That's one. Those are 2. There, Sandra just got both.
Okay, I'm just thinking nationals. You're like, I'm like Cindy LaRue, Amy Rodriguez. Like,
there you go. But the note was just for Sophia Wilson. But dude, you guys, Andi Sullivan could do it too.
Yeah, Andi Sullivan could do it. Wow, that's awesome. That's a fun fact. I like that one. How do you think we'll see Soph this weekend?
I think if you have this player on your roster and she is off SEI, she's available. I think we see her this weekend.
Oh,
I don't imagine we see her from the start, but that's just my thought. I think we see her for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, and 30 minutes is enough for
Right.
Sophia Wilson to do damage.
Yeah.
Talking about maternity leave, Aubrey Kingsbury, the goalkeeper for Washington Spirit, has announced her pregnancy. Congratulations to her and her growing family. But that means she is not going to be in goal for Washington Spirit, which leaves some question marks. Could it be Sandy McIver, who has just started both of Scotland's World Cup qualifying matches? She earned 2 shutouts with them during the international break. Jordyn, do you think that's who we could see in goal, or what defensively is Washington going to do?
I think that's the most logical next step for them. McIver played in 1 game last year. It seemed to be just like a rotation to give her some minutes at the beginning of the season. And so we have seen her play in NWSL, but just 1 game. So no matter who plays in goal for the Spirit, it's going to look different. Aubrey Kingsbury is top in this league, right? She's one of the best that has played in NWSL. And so to not have her in the goal with her shot stopping ability, but also her leadership. Like, that's one of the things that I am curious about, how this Spirit team kind of functions this year, because guys, they are salivating for hardware. Yeah. They want it bad. And it's going to have to be right in the goal. Like, their defense is good, but there's going to be times where you're going to call on that goalkeeper to make the game saving save. And we just don't know. I think it's a little unknown how McIver will play in NWSL over a full season.
Yeah, we'll see. Friday night is when this game kicks off. There's also a bit of question marks around the Portland goalkeeper situation. Bella Bigsby, she has suffered an ACL injury. Mackenzie Arnold is still with Australia for World Cup qualifiers and the Women Asians Cup. Morgan Messner, is she going to make her NWSL regular season debut? Like, what's happening there, Sandra? Do you have anything for us?
I wish I had the intel, honestly, because I mean, if the only intel we have is that one player is out and one player is still busy with internationals, it's kind of maybe trending in one specific direction. But I do think for the Thorns, that's going to be part of the messaging that they need to send in their game 1. It's like, what do they have to do to come away with some points against the Spirit? And I think they need to try to flex a little bit of some of that defensive muscle. Maybe they could view that as a bit of an X factor, that the Spirit might not know what to expect from their keeper or their back line. We need to see Reina Reyes maybe pick up a little bit where she left off last year, kind of taking on a lot of those responsibilities, really kind of leading in a lot of ways sometimes in certain games on the pitch for the Thorns. So I think it's going to be crucial for them. They're going to have to, yes, everyone's going to be really excited about Soph Wilson, but I think the Thorns have an opportunity here. They're going to have to flex some of that defensive muscle.
Yeah. And I wonder how they set up, because they do have now, with some of the acquisitions they've gotten, options in the defensive line, and Marie Mueller is back. So I love that this player is back off of SEI. She was excellent in her season a couple years ago before that ACL. And I think with her, you also have M.A. Vignola. Can you push Vignola up a little bit higher? Or do you play, like, who's playing center back? Hyatt Obeys, or even Jaden Perry? Does she feel more comfortable in her second year? There are some good options for them in the back line, and they're going to have to be good. They're going to have to play really well in order to stop the Spirit.
And that's a test for a new coach too, in Robert Viaham, because he came in late in the offseason to try to rally this group. I think Sophia Wilson does give them a really big internal boost and confidence going forward, but there's still a lot of question marks to be seen. But this is a good one. Washington Spirit, Portland Thorns, Friday night. Let's bookend this weekend and talk about Orlando Pride against Seattle Reign. This match is Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff. It is a 2025 quarterfinal matchup. And remember, do you remember back to last year, Decision Day? It was a 1-1 draw between Orlando and Seattle. Then they met in the quarterfinals, and it was a 2-0 win to Orlando. So this is their 3rd straight meeting to start this season. And there is also some news that has dropped this morning. Seattle Reign forward Jordyn Huitema has posted a farewell across her social media pages to Seattle. It's not public where she's going yet. Stay tuned. But now they don't have her going forward in this starting lineup. this is a very interesting matchup, Sandra, between Orlando and Seattle. Who has the edge?
Goodness gracious. Who has the edge in the first game of the year between two teams who often had some interesting games against each other in the later stage of the season? I mean, some folks might say interesting. Some folks might even use the word boring or long or struggling. So I'm very curious to see the newer-ish versions of both of these sides. What is Orlando going to look like, without a Barbara Banda? She's starting this season on that SCI. We saw the rosters dropping yesterday. We'll probably see more of them dropping today, but Banda is listed on their roster as an SCI, despite all of her good vibes out of Media Day, saying that she wants to be ready for the start of the season. And then you have the Reign side, which I think a lot of us are really excited to potentially to see what a full season of Mia Official with the Seattle Reign can do. And I also just think we're maybe going to get no disrespect to the great Claudia Dickey, but that is what 2025 gave us out of the Seattle Reign. We saw how incredible Claudia Dickey is in goal. If people didn't know, now they certainly do.
It earned her consistent U.S. women's national team call-ups, her performance last year with Seattle.
But you have to score to get points in this league. And we did not see it with Jordyn Huitema and this Seattle Reign scene, which is probably why we're seeing a farewell post. And there just wasn't enough time, really, I think, for Mia Official to get acclimated. And maybe, just maybe, the system that they were churning out at that time, which played to Dickey's strengths, wasn't quite what we were going to see be something that was so fruitful for somebody like Official, even somebody like a Mondesir. I want to see those two players play more together and just really kind of use some of that explosiveness and change things up for the Reign. Let's see some more dynamic play from this team, and I hope we get to see it in 2026.
They want to be on the ball. Those two players, like Mia Official wants the ball at her feet, and Seattle just didn't do that at all last year. They have to change. But also, I do believe that Laura Harvey looked at what she had and said, okay, we have to make it work with the pieces I have. And Mia Official, you might just have to figure it out. And she struggled. She didn't figure it out last year. She struggled with the injuries, and she didn't have any goal contributions. She only had 4 starts. This has to be the year for Mia Official. It has to be.
Yes, because I feel like you're reading my notes, Lisa. These are all the things that I wrote down as well. This Seattle team under Laura Harvey, with her experience in this league, we don't really know what they're going to look like, because she has had teams that play beautiful football. And she's also had teams last year who just defend and defend and defend and really have no attack. So what are we going to get? And I'm hopeful with this lineup. You guys have mentioned some of the players, but I'm also thinking about players behind them. Like if they revert back to a 4-3-3, which I think they can with the players that they have. You have Curry and Huerta as outside backs. Those two in and of themselves can join the attack and be super effective. And then in the midfield, this could be a midfield of Meza, Menti, and Fishlock. Ooh. To me, those are ball-playing players. You want to play through them. So can they say, okay, last year, Harvey talked a lot about saying, this is back to the basics. We are building a foundation so we can build off of it. I hope it was a foundation, and it was really good when it comes to the defensive work. But now what's the next step? And I think it's being more brave, playing through the midfield, finding those players to their feet, including more players up in the attack because they have the ball a little bit more. That's my hope for Seattle, because otherwise I don't see them scoring very many goals. And I kind of see it being the same as it was last year. So unfortunately, Laura Harvey liked being under the radar last year. I don't know if they will be. I think a lot of eyeballs are going to be on this Seattle team.
Should we ask ChatGPT what they're going to play this year?
Ooh, come on.
Nice.
I'm just kidding. I love you, Laura. I love you, Laura. Yeah, good points, Jordyn. And also with Jordan Bugg playing in that center back role, she grew so much.
And McClernand can play as just a left back now, or a left center back, because she had such a solid season. I think her confidence has jumped so much. Those are the hopes for the Seattle squad.
Absolutely.
Gosh, sounds like we're all trending Seattle's ways.
I was going to say, what we're writing Orlando off. I mean, they had some big losses this season with players that left. I think once Banda comes back, it's it's almost like a bull waiting in the gates to like be released. She's going to just be all over the place in this game. But I think that with Orlando, we might see differences this year in how they're going to play because of all the changes that had taken place. What does their defensive structure look like without Emily Sams, who has really been the backbone and the healthy backbone of their defensive line and building out, and how she switches the point of attack? And even without Allie Brazier up top, formerly Allie Watt, I think that's a really big loss for Orlando that they're going to feel early on in this season as they're getting adjusted and teams are ready to hit them, just like the Seattle side.
Yeah, I think Angelina's got to have a big game for this team, and hopefully she's rearing to go. I also, think of Jackie Ovaya, but again, these are players who are also coming off of longer international breaks as well. I'm not too sure how they'll, be looking or feeling, for the Pride, but maybe it's in in one of those new acquisitions. Maybe it's Haley Mace, maybe it's Haley Mace who maybe takes a little bit of that responsibility on. I am very curious to see Mace with the Orlando Pride side going up against the Seattle Reign team that Mace kind of struggled with the Current. Like the Current had long stretches of their matches against the Seattle where they struggled a lot to kind of break things down and kind of figure out the Reign. So maybe Mace will be one of those keys that you put into a lock for the Reign and hopefully find a breakthrough for Orlando Pride.
Yeah, the Pride definitely want that. I would just say, with everything I just said about Seattle, I don't know if they're going to win this game. That's my hopes for their season, right? I hope that they can start to build some of those things and layer them in. But I think Millie said it in the chat, like this probably could be a 0-0 draw. It's in the beginning of the season. Like you just don't know. But I do feel like under Seb Hines, like this Pride team has really had some pride in who they are. Like they go out there and it's a new team over these last few years. So they are going to come out and we don't know what the back line is going to look like with their center backs. They have options. Hannah Anderson, Rafaeli, Shavoshi, even Corey Dyke can play in the center of that center back. So we'll see how they build out of it. But I think that they have to figure out a way. If we go from what Seattle did last year, they played in a lower block system, right? They had numbers behind the ball. Orlando was not good at breaking down teams when they sat in a lower block. Did they adapt to that over this preseason? Did they find a way to unlock using players like Ovaie, Marta, even runs out of the midfield with McCutcheon? I think those are going to be proved to be important in this game if they find a win. And they're at home, right?
McCutcheon. Goal scoring McCutcheon.
Yeah.
It is in Orlando. This match is in Orlando. Some other notable matches of this weekend that you guys have your eyes on. I'm really excited for the Sunday nightcap that we're going live right after Angel City, Chicago. I am so intrigued to see how Alex Strauss and Angel City roll out this year. I think we could get something entirely different than we saw even at the end of last year with the pieces he has brought in and how he wants to play, and knowing how disappointed he was in not being able to play the style he wanted last year for Strauss. He wants the ball. He wants to possess it. He wants to use the players like Giselle Thompson on the outside. And I think having Emily Sams in that center back role is really going to help him play his style. You're nodding along with that one, Jordyn. Your match, another one to flag, Angel City, Chicago.
Yeah, that was for me too, for all the things that you said. But also on the other side, Martin Hogren, new head coach of the Stars, a lot of good chatter about him in the preseason and what he's been able to do with this team from players. And so I'm excited to see that and how it translates, how they've built from what they did in last year with tighter connections, being closer to each other on the field, playing through the lines. To me, this is going to be a really intriguing matchup with two teams who really, I would say, have higher expectations this year than they've had in a long time.
Mm-hmm. I like that prediction. It kicks off this weekend. So, of course, we couldn't leave you without our own big predictions. There will be an article out on CBSSports.com that gives you every single A3 talent's predictions for the year. It drops tomorrow, so tune into that. Keep your receipts and troll us all season long for when we are wrong about these. Let's hit them with our predictions. Sandra, I'm starting with you. Championship winner in 2026.
I'm going Spirit. I think last year I think I might have had them in the mix for either Shield or Championship too, but they are just that kind of team. They're just that team that are just going to find themselves as contenders, and you can't knock this many times and not come away with one. They're walking away with something. I don't know if it's going to be a Shield winning season with the new 30-match schedule, but I do think there's enough from Adrian Gonzalez and the squad to squeak out that championship win. So I'm going Spirit.
I don't want to pick. I really struggled with this. I'm going to just go kind of wild. We're going to see back-to-back champs. I think Gotham wins it again. The depth of this squad, they've got a lot of players that can play a lot of minutes, and they're going to need it. And I think that they could go back-to-back because once they get in the playoffs, they know how to win.
You never know what's going to happen. I am going Kansas City Current for the reasons that they are so desperate to win a championship that I think they're going to put all their eggs in the playoff basket. Okay. I don't even think they're going to care about where they finish in the standings at the end. They just want to make it, and then they'll get to the championship and win it. For my Shield winners, I'm going Washington Spirit. I think they're so built for a long season. I think the biggest question mark is the goalkeeper position, but I'm going Washington Spirit as my Shield winners. Sandra, who do you have?
I'm looking at rosters too, and I like Gotham's. I like everything they're building. I think Gotham has what it takes to take on the extra matches and come out on top. Gotham for Shield winners for me.
I like this. Flip-flop, Sandra. I got Spirit as the Shield for all the reasons that Lisa said.
Guys, this is so juicy. Okay, MVP, Jordyn. Who is your MVP?
Oh, well, she loves the spotlight. There's a whole new rule now because of her. So I'm going Trinity Rodman. If this Spirit team is going to do all these big things, she will be the MVP because of the amount of goals and assists and flair that she brings. Everybody's going to want to watch Trinity Rodman.
I hope it's her. I love that shout. Yeah. I'm going with her former teammate, Croy Bethune. I think the pickup for Kansas City is such a big deal, and she had an excellent rookie year, becoming rookie of the year with her assists, and a little bit of a slump due to some injuries in her second year. And this is a third year, a new team, and a chance for Kansas City to make a statement. And they have to do that with an MVP player, Croy Bethune.
I think it's going to take a little while, but I think this player is a lot closer than folks anticipate. I think Barbara Banda is going to make a run for MVP this year. I think she was making a run for MVP last year, but unfortunately that season got cut short, and I'm hopeful that she comes back and absolutely smokes the competition.
Wow. Barbara Banda for MVP. Does that mean she's your golden boot, Sandra? Who do you have scoring the most goals?
I'm just going to go completely the opposite way and just say that I like when golden boot and MVP don't always align. So I hope it's different. And I want to see it. I believe in big fish. I want to see it.
Nice.
Not a stranger. Not a stranger to winning not a stranger to scoring goals and winning a golden boot. I want to see me official have a big season. And with Temwa Shuinga having probably a slower start to this season, I think maybe somebody can finally chase this player. And I would love it to be me official. I do wonder if, going off of last year, for example, if those goals start dropping, because this is going to be year 3 for Shuinga in the league. It's a lot more footage and a lot more familiarity.
Sandra, she hasn't gotten any slower. Let me just tell you.
No. There's going to still be clips, but I don't know. I don't know if those extra 4 games, the 30-game season, is going to mean that Shuinga is going to get even more goals. When is she coming back?
Yeah, I think all of them were very hard. This one is the hardest, I think, because there's so many unknowns in the league this year as to how some of these teams are playing. And so there's some big names. Who's to say Amanda Gutierrez isn't going to be the golden boot, right? But we just don't know how Boston is going to play. And will they feed her enough? Will she get in spots where she can score goals? So I went I struggled with this. I had so many players down. I went Esther.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a
Okay.
pretty good shout.
Yeah.
I also I struggled with this one, and I wanted to pick someone out of the box because it's more fun to do that. And I think this move is going to help this player, and I'm going Ludmila with San Diego.
I thought of her too. I like it.
I think that she's just going to go off, and I don't think they have a lot of other goal scorers, and they have a lot of people that can set up Ludmila. So I'm going with her. Guys, this is so fun. It was so difficult. There's a full article dropping on CBSSports.com Friday, March 13th with every single A3 members' predictions for the season, including Championship Shield, MVP, Golden Boot, but so much more as well, Rookie of the Year. So tune into that and drop us your predictions. Let us know in the chat, in the comments, who you are picking to win in 2026. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. We're talking expansion sides next.
You need a hug?
You need a fist?
Crutch, crutch, crutch.
Crutch, crutch.
Crutch, you need anything. I do have one question. We didn't mean right now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Attacking Third, presented by Tylenol, the official pain reliever of the NWSL. And which expansion team is going to need the most Tylenol this season? That is the segment we are talking about, because we are previewing Denver and Boston, and it is not easy to be an expansion team in the NWSL with 16 teams, 30 matches. Let's talk about it. Of course, we have the wonderful Jordan Angeli with us, and she is a founder of Denver Summit of FC. So a little disclaimer out there for everyone. Let's talk Denver. They have their head coach, Nick Cushing, in this offseason. Pretty much every move was a notable move because they had to build an entire roster. Some big names that they brought in: goalkeeper Abby Smith, Janine Sonis, Io Ake, Ali Brazier, Lindsay Heaps, Ava Gaetano, Kaylee Kurtz. A lot of big players that have been brought in. Jordan, you're nodding. You're excited about it. I mean, these are some big names. Lindsay Heaps being probably the biggest on this list. She's not set to join until this summer, but this is a roster that is built with experience, a lot of championship experience down the spine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And one of the things that we've learned over the past few years, not just in NWSL, but also in MLS, is like, how do you build an expansion team? And it has to do with this duality of really experienced NWSL players alongside some big splashes. And I think Heaps and are those big splashes for this Summit team. And when you look at some of these players that they brought in, the spine is where they tried to build a lot of the depth. So yeah, it's one of the key things.
That spine is crazy. You look at Abby Smith, she's a two-time NWSL champion. Jordan Baggett, Carson Pickett, champion Shield and champion winner. Janine Sonis, NWSL champion. Kaylee Kurtz, record-setting Iron Woman with North Carolina. Nick Cushing, also an incredible coach. Jen Beatty, our own from A3, has talked about him and said how to this day, Nick Cushing is still one of the best coaches Jen Beatty has had. So we don't know a lot about this team, but we decided we'd take a shot at it. And we're going to give you our projected 11 for Denver. And this is our wish list 11, we're going to say. In goal, we have Abby Smith starting. Across the back line, Carson Pickett, Ava Gaetano, Kaylee Kurtz, and Io Ake. Then in the midfield, this one was a little trickier. Emma Reagan, who is the Canadian international, she's going to be the 6. You have all just watched her with She Believes Cup. She played in that 6 role. Lindsay Heaps, of course, is in that midfield group when she comes. And then it's Una McCormick, who is the FSU national champion. She's a rookie. I think she's going to have a pretty big year with Denver. Across the front line, Janine Sonis, Garcia, and then Ali Brazier. This is what we have for our starting lineup. Sandra, do you approve?
I approve because I helped make it. So I love this starting lineup. I'm here for it. I'm curious what Jordan thinks. And honestly, Lisa, I don't know. I think it felt kind of difficult to make this one just because of some of the talent that we've been rattling off here. I mean, I think if I had to pick one player that I'm just absolutely amped about for the Summit, it's 100% Io. Like she is going to be such a spark plug, I think, for this team. And a lot of folks, I think, probably got that fresh introduction to her if they weren't familiar with her before during those January camps with the USWNT. I got plenty of people already yelling at me for not mentioning her in the rookies to watch, but joke's on you. You do not know ball because she does not qualify as a rookie in the NWSL. She will qualify as a newcomer, but not as a rookie because she actually played professionally with Pachuca in Liga MX Femenil. So I'm very, very excited to see her kind of plug in and play because you know what? She's not going to have a problem with any of that altitude or mountains. She had to play in those conditions in Mexico. So she's going to be raring to go. What do you think of the lineup, Jordyn?
Yeah, just a note on her. She's the biggest transfer fee for an American coming back into NWSL. So huge pickup there. I would say, yes, of course, everybody wants heaps to play, but she's got some more games to play before she gets into this starting 11. I think one of the benefits of these tournaments, these preseason tournaments, I don't know if you guys happen to catch the San Diego Wave Summit stream on YouTube, but I got to watch a little bit of that, and that was really helpful to see how this team would shape up. To me, when I'm looking at this, I like it, but I would say two players that I would look to maybe from that game that would potentially crack into this is Tosh Flint as a 10 in that 10 spot, really operating in the pockets. And then Natalie Means looked really good in that game. Had a goal and an assist in the first half against San Diego, outside back, left back, can just bomb up and down. And what it looked like in that game was the connection between her and Sonis was already on point. And so I would be curious to see if she's potentially going to be a starter for Summit.
Yeah, that's a really good shout. There's also Megan Reed who could slot into this back line. A lot of depth, a lot of experience, a lot of really talented players. Sandra and I, we had the pleasure of speaking with Denver defender Ava Gattino. Take a listen to what she had to say.
Obviously, these types of things are like so tricky, and I don't honestly think are not talked about enough as like for us soccer players, like these decisions that we make that, you know, impact our careers so much. But for me, the competitiveness of the NWSL, first of all, was super exciting for me. I love the idea of a challenge week in and week out. And also, I really just wanted to be a part of growing something and like putting forth like that work to really build something incredible with a group of girls, a group of women who like also want to be there, also want to be a part of growing something. So it was just all super exciting for me, and it was an opportunity I couldn't say no to. So, I mean, I think one thing that the U.S. just does such an amazing job of is not only the commercial side, but like the fan base and playing in front of like committed, proud fans. It truly makes such a difference as a player. And I had a lot of FOMO from it and like seeing like what the NWSL was doing for their teams and the how the fans showed up for their teams. Like, I just was like, I want to be a part of that. I do. I think what you can expect is a hungry team, a team that wants to prove something, and a team that's just not going to let up, and who I think we really want to become a team who just enjoys the chaos and enjoys the grind. Because I think if you like kind of like are adverse to it, you're not gonna do as good as you could. But if you just embrace it and like live in it, I think that we could be really, really good. And I think that's what something you can expect from us is.
Denver fans are going to be happy to hear that from Ava. I thought it was so funny how she was like, I just had FOMO. Everyone looked like they were having fun playing in the States. I wanted to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's an honest answer.
Yeah, I love it. You can listen to the full interview with Ava. It is on our podcast feed and on YouTube. All right, for Denver, what are our expectations for this team? They take on Bay in their first match this upcoming weekend, and I think it is going to be a really big test for them. Bay is also in a bit of a rebuild in what they're doing this year with a new coach and a lot of new players and really almost starting over. And that has been a theme of expansion teams in the NWSL. And for Denver, I think the biggest test is going to be, can they maintain all that consistency, not just through this year, but over the next several years? I have high hopes for this team because of a lot of the reasons we already said. They've brought in champions, NWSL experienced veterans and champions that know how to win and know how to compete for a long season, maybe not 30 games, but 26 games. They understand what it takes. They understand the highs and the lows that come with a really long NWSL season and how to maintain that. Plus, Denver has the secret weapon of their altitude. Ava talked a little bit about that with us. I think this is going to be a team that competes for a playoff position towards the end of the year, which has not been done by a lot of expansion teams coming into the NWSL.
I have high expectations for this team too. So I'm glad we got one of the Fawners on here so that you can lobby for these expectations back to the team. And I think this is the perfect match to kind of get your inaugural season started. I mean, no disrespect to BFC, but they are also a team that are sort of finding themselves building again, even though they are not too far removed from being an expansion side themselves. New coach, new players. They're going to be figuring out new things. So I think they are kind of heavily injured right now on the defensive side of things. So there's opportunities here for Denver to take a look at and kind of expose and maybe kind of show us a bit of who we expect them to be. So hopefully it's a good game.
Yeah, I feel like this every 2 years, right? We have to predict the expectations, but I think with this Denver squad, there's high expectations because they have made a splash in their spending, what they're willing to put into this league, how much money they used to build this club. And that's ambition, right? That is saying, hey, we want to win a championship. And so I think that onlookers should have high expectations because of that. And this is a championship city, you guys. Denver, every team here, minus the Rockies, have won championships. So I think if you play sports here, you have to expect that you have that weight on your shoulder to win. So there are high expectations for this team. What you said, Sandra, I think is going to be important is how much pressure they can put on this back line of Bay, because from the start of last year to this start of this year, there is not one of the same players on that back line. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Alyssa Milan's on tour ACL, went on SEI. I think that was announced yesterday. So can they make this back line uncomfortable with the way they press, with the way they sit, and make them be expansive a little bit? That's going to be key.
A lot of changes, a lot of excitement to come. So that's Denver, Bay FC, that match happening Saturday in this opening weekend. Let's look at Boston, our other expansion team coming into the NWSL this year. They are Boston Legacy FC. Their coach is Felipe Pascal. And this offseason, same as Denver, every move was a big move because they had to build an entire roster. But the biggest names, goalkeeper Casey Murphy coming into this team, Bianca St. George, Ella Stevens, players in the front line, Josephine Hasbo, Barb Olivieri, and Nichelle Prince. These are a lot of names that a lot of people know, but if you look through the roster, there are a lot of internationals, a lot of players, almost half of their roster that has never played in NWSL before. And these names that I just listed are the ones that have played a lot, including Nichelle Prince, a Canadian international forward, an NWSL veteran who has so much experience. And Sandra and I got to chat with Prince. Take a listen to what Nichelle had to say about the start of the year for Boston.
I'm not the loudest person in the room. I'm not like the raw person, but I feel like I bring a sense of calmness and I lead in that way, and I show up for my teammates. I try to show up for my teammates every day the best I can. And so I think just having that experience in this league, knowing that it's a long year, that there's going to be ups and downs, just trying to be that sense of calm and that sense of direction for a less experienced team, but a team that's has so much to offer this year.
Nichelle, you mentioned wanting that opportunity to sort of build something new, and you're doing that in Boston. It's a pretty iconic city, and NWSL wants to find itself in a plethora of cities, like ones that are maybe smaller markets to ones that are really, really iconic. And Boston, with such a historical presence, got plenty of iconic landmarks. I know the team was spotted at Fenway earlier this preseason. How's it been like exploring the city for you? What have you sort of been able to take in?
Oh my gosh, yes. It's such an exciting city to be able to be a part of. The biggest thing I heard when I got signed here was it is a big sports city, and the fans will let you know if you're doing good or bad. And so I think that's exciting. You want to show up for your fans. You want to, play well for them and get results. And I think we're going to be a team, though, that is exciting to watch. So I think that the fans are going to have fun watching us play. It's going to be creative. It's going to be different. We're going to be on the ball a lot. So I think the fans will love to see that. And just there's something that actually I found out after signing with Boston, which I knew, but I didn't really put it together until later, was that in 2003, the World Cup was, and there was a World Cup game in Foxborough. My parents actually drove me and my sisters down from Toronto to watch the game. But Canada was playing against Sweden or something. And it's actually a full circle moment being able to play at Gillette. I was 8 years old when I watched. I'm aging myself because probably more than half of my team was not alive at this point. So truly aging myself. But it's crazy that full circle, I'm playing my first year at a new team at Foxborough at a stadium that I watched a World Cup team at. So I'm really there's so much history in Boston with sports, and I was able to be a part of that as a fan 20 years ago, and now I get to be in the stadium and be the second women's soccer team here, and I get to do something really exciting. So I'm really excited about that.
Philippe a little bit and some of the things that she's integrated a little bit for you all over this preseason, and I'm just curious, and for you, in your experience, you are one of the more seasoned players on this team. And so sometimes when you're working with a new coach who's also new to the NWSL, sometimes it offers that new perspective, and it could be, refreshing. Maybe what are some things that you're already picking up from the coaching staff, looking to add to your game?
For sure. I think that's actually the first couple weeks of preseason, and Felipe's style of coaching and play is very different than maybe some stuff I've been used to. And at first you're a little hesitant, to, dive in. I think that's just natural. You're this is not what I'm used to. This is not the things I know. And I think something that she's really implemented is, guys, I know that I'm different. I know that I coach different. I know things are maybe not how you guys are used to, but just trust the process. She's if you trust the process, we're going to get somewhere here, and this is going to be a special team. And I think that's what everyone has done, is truly just okay, buy into what we're doing here, and we'll see something great. And I think you need everyone. You truly do, because if there's one person who's no, I'm not liking it, it's going to drive the team in the wrong direction. And so I think we've all just been okay, embrace this. And we've had, so far it's been a great preseason, and hopefully that carries through into the season. But I think that's because everyone is just trusting this process, and just the way that she loves football. She wants to be on the ball. She wants to be creative. She allows us to be and encourages us to make mistakes. And so I think it just allows to have a comfortable environment where people are growing and pushing themselves.
So fun to hear from Nichelle. She talked about how close this team was, how they're singing happy birthday, Sandra, in 7 different languages with the group. Go listen to the full conversation we had with Nichelle. It's on our podcast page and across our YouTube pages. But with Denver, we did our starting lineup. We also did it for Boston. Much harder, at least in my opinion. Sandra, take us through who you think is going to be in the projected lineup for Boston.
All right, let's start up top. We've got Alan Gutierrez and Prince leading the attack. We've got Caño, Oliveri, Stevens in the middle, Hernandez, Caravalli, Kaká, and Araujo, and Murphy for the back 5. There's 4 defenders and the goalkeeper. I got to say, it was difficult to kind of crack through this, but I kind of like what we settled on. And I hope that Gutierrez has a bit of a breakout season for Boston. I think there's I think we're underestimating that concept of the unfamiliarity around an international striker for that first season in NWSL, and maybe Boston is hoping they get some of that trending luck their way. How are other opposing defenses supposed to kind of contain this player? She was a leading goal scorer for Brazil during that Copa America Femenina, so she's no stranger to scoring goals, especially when they count. And, you know, a lot of international players in the mix. What is Coach, Felipe got cooking here with all these players? That's a lot of different styles, a lot of different personalities, a lot of different experiences to all get on the same page. And maybe, just maybe, that is going to be the thing that gets them through. The same language that they're all going to have in common is that playbook. So hopefully it comes to life for them.
Yeah. I like this starting lineup. It is difficult because a lot of these players, I think when I counted 13 of the players for Boston have never played in NWSL before. So there is a lot of unknown to what they're going to look like. But I would make one, personally, I would make one move. I would say Anna Karic, who played in that World Sevens tournament. Lisa, you and I got to watch her. I think she starts as the 6 for this team. Too. And then I think that then pushes Olivieri or Stevens into the front line for Allen. And that would kind of be the one move that I see that kind of solidifies the team. She has a lot of experience playing abroad and can hold down some of the expectations for this group in their opening game at Foxborough. I love that note there from Prince. Oh, that's going to be so cool for her. And with the Gotham team, who is going to come at them. And so her stability, I think, will add to this group. But do we know, is Amanda want to be, I know they've called her Guti, like, does she want to just be Amanda? Is it Gutierrez? We need to figure out what that is going to be. But she can score goals from just about any situation. Great aerially, good with the ball to find the back shoulder of a defender. So I'm with you, Sandra. I think she's going to score a lot of goals.
Yeah. I think she's going to be very difficult to play against. And I think a lot of NWSL teams are not going to be ready for what Gutierrez can do. Alba Caño, I also believe she's on loan right now, so unavailable. This was like our wish list starting lineup because she won't be back for a little bit. But there is a lot of good players. I think Annie Karic is a good one to throw in there. I think Josephine Hasbo is also a player that we could see get significant minutes with Boston. There's a lot of experience too on this Boston side. It just depends kind of how it breaks down. But they have to take on Gotham, guys, in this opening game, which both of you had in your predicted. They're going to make it all the way to the end. Jordyn, do you foresee how do you foresee this game going, Boston and Gotham?
You just can't underestimate a new team with the energy that they're going to have. And so I do think Boston at home. Yeah. I do think that Boston, it'll be important how they manage that energy, how compact they are in moments to deny Gotham any kind of momentum. But I think what we just heard from Prince, and actually one of the things I wrote down is like, what is their style going to be like? I think they could have a really unique style. There is a lot of energy. There's diverse players. So how does that stylistically work? If it clicks, I think it's going to be hard for teams to manage because they're not going to have seen this before. That's what I think. And Portuguese coach, first ever Portuguese coach in the league. But it also could go the other way where it doesn't mesh. And if things go wrong, how do all of that diverse group, how do they come together and regroup? I think that's going to be an important thing because I know that they've had translator earbuds that they've been wearing during trainings to make sure they're all on the same page. Well, you don't wear those in the game. So how do you manage that when things don't go your way?
Yeah. Who takes charge, who takes leadership and kind of brings things in? I can almost guarantee that things aren't going to go perfectly their way in this
football, right?
Yeah, it's that is the beauty of this sport. So how do they adjust? How do they adapt? This is a great point, Jordyn. NWSL, guys, it all kicks off this weekend. You can watch the expansion teams and your reigning champs, Gotham. They all kick off. Stick with us with A3. We're going to wrap up this show with some international conversation. Stay with us.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it? Can you handle it? The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount+.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Attacking Third. The international break is over, so we're going to do a little roundup, a little in case you missed it. There is still one competition that is going on. That is the Women's Asian Cup. It takes place right now in Australia, the final set for March 21st. And this upcoming weekend are the quarterfinals. Right now, China and Japan, they lead the group stage, both with 3 wins each. South Korea and Australia are behind China and Japan with 2 wins and a draw. A lot to come out of this tournament. China are the reigning champs. They could potentially repeat, or we could have a new champion. There's still a lot to come out of this Women's Asian Cup. Again, the final set for March 21st. But the biggest news out of this competition comes following Iran's group stage games, because at least 5 members of the Iranian women's national team did not return with the team after being knocked out of the tournament due to concerns about their safety upon returning home. Instead, it was local police officers in Australia who transported those players from a hotel to a safe location after they made asylum requests. And this comes after the opening match of the tournament, when the Iranian women's national team players did not sing the national anthem. They then did sing the next 2 group stage games that they played in. But this all started just 2 days after U.S. and Israel's joint military operation started, which then led TV to brand the players as wartime traitors. That's the Iranian state media calling the players wartime traitors, which then led to them asking for asylum. It is a really tough, difficult situation, Jordyn, that these players are dealing with, and that they have to deal with on top of just trying to play and compete in World Cup qualifiers.
It's really hard for us in the safety of our homes here to speak what it would feel like to be one of these players. But I think in general, our consensus as a group is like, we want everybody to feel safe and be protected. And so hard to know what went into this decision for those players. But for them, it's nice, I think, for us as a soccer community, knowing that they're safe and they did what they felt was right for them. And we just pray that they are protected and feel like they have found safety.
Yeah, I can't say anything else. I think when you see this situation unfolding, because it keeps unfolding in front of us, there might be another update when we're done sort of reacting to this. But I think in the human side of things, the instinct is to just immediately have a sense of fear for the player's safety and just the genuine want for them to continue to have that safety and those protections moving forward. So all of my best thoughts are with them. I can't imagine being in that situation and finding yourself having to make those types of choices or decisions. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
Out of the Women's African Cup of Nations, it is WAFCON that has been postponed. It was set to kick off next week, March 17th, and then the Confederation of African Football postponed the event to July and August due to unexpected logistical and organizational challenges. That's just 12 days before the opening match. Talk about word salad. Unexpected logistical and organizational challenges. South Africa's head coach Desiree Ellis came out asking very squarely, would this be happening with the men's game? Other players are speaking out about it. Sandra, it's really disappointing that WAFCON was postponed after all these teams, the players had made preparations to prepare for these World Cup qualifiers.
Lisa, I wish it was a word salad. I wish it was barely that. The Federation put out a measly statement. It offered no actual context. It cited discussions that took place between the Federation and its partners, and that they said, you know what, after those discussions, we decided that it was best to go ahead and postpone this. But don't worry, we're still preparing, and it's really going to be successful, and everybody is just supposed to accept that and believe that. But this postponement is it's a gut punch. It is absolutely a gut punch to Africa women's football, and it's a bit of another signal. It's another signal that the women's game is still treated as an afterthought, and the reasons that they can cite saying that they're logistical, but the messaging and the way it's been delivered is ultimately demoralizing, especially to the players who have been prepping for a very specific time in their year and their season. And the players are right. it should be unsurprising that it's Nigeria's players who are sort of leading the way and kind of speaking out against this. Ashley Pumptree has spoken out against it. Ajibade has spoken out against it, and that's just the other sort of piece of this puzzle, right? Women athletes find themselves once again needing to lead the way in talking about why something like this is disrespectful to the game.
In UEFA, they are also doing their World Cup qualifiers. France, England, Germany, and Spain, no surprise there, remain perfect in League A competition. Germany specifically has done a really good job defensively. They haven't conceded a single goal so far in their 2 matches. But the way that the groups shake out, we will get to see an England and Spain matchup in the group stage, which has a lot of weight on it. The winners of the group stage will qualify directly for the Women's World Cup in 2027 in Brazil. The runners up and the other teams will then go into a playoff tournament. So England and Spain battling in the same group, both still perfect right now. Italy, meanwhile, after a incredible Cinderella run last year at the Euros, making it to the semifinal, they've been really disappointing. A draw to Denmark, a loss to Sweden, a bit of inconsistencies, Jordan, from a team that we thought could maybe be a bit of a spoiler in these World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah. Gosh, Italy, come on. They put us on this roller coaster, right? And I feel like that's kind of been the story of this Italian team is they've lacked consistency because they give us this high note and we're like, yes, here we go, push it on the world stage. And then they're like, maybe not quite yet. So it's going to take a lot, but it's a bummer to see this from Italy, especially after I think everybody's eyes were glued to them during Euros.
Mm-hmm. But still, it's France, England, Germany, and Spain leading the pack in UEFA World Cup qualifiers. CONCACAF, we've also got qualifiers happening in CONCACAF. And the biggest news has to be Jamaica's Bunny Shaw because she is back and better than ever. She is scoring with Jamaica, who has won their first 2 matches. She's coming off a brace in the big win over Nicaragua for Jamaica. So CONCACAF qualifiers have been really fun to watch as well. And Brazil has also played some friendly matches. I mean, this international window was very active. But for Brazil, they fell to Venezuela and Mexico, 2-1 against Venezuela and 1-0 against Mexico, being shut out by the Mexican women's national team. What's happening here, Sandra? What's happening with Brazil? What's happening with Mexico in that 1-0 game? I mean, break it down a little bit for us.
I think it was a mix of just not great timing. I think for Brazil, I think it's no secret that NWSL is home to a lot of Brazilian players, and I think maybe some of that preseason form kind of bit them at the wrong time. For some of these friendlies in the international window. Whereas with Mexico, they've got a mix of players, across different leagues. And it was a fun, tense kind of game. There was a missed penalty, missed opportunity for Mexico, but incredible game for their goalkeeper and Stephanie Barreras, kind of really keeping Brazil out of net and with some help from the goalpost for sure. So a narrow win for Mexico, but they're going to be flying high on that for sure. Whereas Brazil, I think they might be kind of motivated by this window. I would imagine that they're going to toss this out of the memory bank and kind of bounce right back in the next one.
Almost concerning for Brazil to fall in 2 games when they have been such a powerhouse and such a team competing at the highest level, even with the United States. All right, guys, we teased it at the top of the show that there's been some news and it's officially broken. So we can talk about it now on A3 before we close out. Jordyn Huitema has been traded from Seattle Reign to the Chicago Stars, the Olympic gold medalist, the Canadian international forward. She brings a lot of pedigree, some goal scoring to the Windy City. It comes in exchange for $200,000 in allocation money and $300,000 transfer fee. So a $500,000. Thank you. The numbers are hard. Price tag for Jordyn Huitema, and she's coming to Chicago, Sandra.
I guess so. I do not. If you're asking me for the first reaction is I do not get it. I do not get it. make it make sense, and that's gonna fall on the coaching staff and the player and the system. There's a lot of unknown variables here. That's a lot of money for a player that I'm not sure that other clubs might have made that move for. I think there is a counter argument to be said that Huitema maybe didn't thrive in the type of system that was happening over in the Reign. But I think if you look at the numbers, 70 appearances, not a lot of goal production, not a lot of assists, but maybe, just maybe it's going to be different. You hope that it's going to be different with a new coach and a new system. But it's hard for me to make sense of it, especially when they've got a similar profile in Yvonne Chacon. So I'm just kind of like, well, you've got 2 similar forwards now. What does it all mean?
Yeah, I kind of like that, though. Competition is so good, especially for that spot. If you're a goal scorer, you need someone breathing down your neck to make sure that you know your spot's going to be taken if you don't perform. When I'm looking at Huitema, she's played 70 games in NWSL, 10 goals, you guys. 10 goals.
That's not.
I'm not.
Yeah, I couldn't remember all the numbers, so thank you, Jordyn.
Yeah, I am not saying that she cannot score goals, because I think she can, especially with a Swanson and a Joseph running the sidelines, right? And feeding her the ball. I think she can score goals, but it's a head scratcher for that much money. And maybe it's a fresh new start. She mentioned that. And sometimes that can reinvigorate a player. She's still young. So can Logren get the best out of her, I think is going to be the key factor in this.
I'm worried that one of the hurdles that Jordyn Huitema has to overcome is that she needs to be set up in order to score a lot of goals. Can she create for herself? Can she be a goal scoring threat on her own and really take it to the opposition? But a big move. It is $500,000. Thank you to our producer for helping me with the math there on that one. $500,000.
Right. But then you questioned yourself also.
Like struggling. The numbers really get me. I was like 200,000, 300,000, 500,000. Yeah, whatever. $500,000 for Jordyn Huitema from Seattle to Chicago. And it comes on the eve of NWSL 2026 kicking off. It all starts this weekend with match day 1, which means that Sunday night at 7 p.m., right after Angel City against Chicago Stars, we will be bringing you our reactions, our analysis from match week 1. And our very first team of the week for 2026. So get out your typing fingers, listeners, because I know you have thoughts on our team of the week. Thanks, everyone, so much for hanging with us. Jordyn, thanks for being with us. And everyone, we will see you on Sunday. For Sandra, Jordyn, Phil, and Audrey, I'm Lisa. This was Attacking Third.